Hey guys, so I'm back. Hey, I just wanted to give you a quick intro. I made this cute little zipper pouch, so it would match my Mustang bags. This is the Elaine by moremeknow.com. This is the Annette by Swoon Patterns. This is the one I took a picture of for the video, but it fits really good in here. I have the mini NCW right here, and then the zipper pouch. I'm not using this one right now. I'm using the other one. Sorry, someone came in. Or not. But anyway, just really quick, it's really simple. I think the video is maybe 20-25 minutes long. It's not bad at all. But, so now all my Mustang bags match, and I needed something to put my extras in, like chargers and medicine and lotion and all that good stuff. So, the outside exterior and lining panels, whatever you want to call them, are 9x7, and I cut out 1-inch squares out of each piece of the bottom, and this is an add-on. It's just stripes, and I sewed those on. I did them kind of out of order, but you'll see that it worked out. But yeah, and then the zipper I cut 1 inch shorter than the panel before I sew it all together. You know, you have your pieces laying, it's 1 inch shorter, so it's got a 1/2 inch on each side. So when we sew them together, we're not sewing over top of the zipper tabs. But yeah, I'll put the dimensions of stuff in the description box below. If you have any questions, ask, and thanks for watching. Enjoy the video. Okay, hey guys, you're gonna wanna cut your exterior and your lining pieces at 9x7. You'll need 2 of each. You're also going to cut a 1-inch square out of the bottom of each of those in the corner. And you're also going to leave about a 1/2 inch on each side of your zipper so that you have lots of space to sew when you're sewing the edges together. But right now I'm just showing you my zipper, which is 8 inches because my exterior right here is 9 inches wide. I just sewed some stripes down the center just to kind of coordinate with the bags that I want it to match. My zipper tabs are 1.5 by 2 inches, and I'm just going to put right sides together and use a 1/2 inch seam allowance and sew those on. And I'm doing a voiceover this time because I couldn't do it earlier, so you might hear my dog's dog tags in the background. He's out here outside with me just messing around, so, and I have a cat on my lap, so you might hear some purring possibly. But yep, I'm just doing both sides here, right sides together. I'm just trying to get it nice and even here. Okay, we'll cut all these threads and then we'll top stitch our zipper tabs. It felt good to be able to finally sew again. I was so excited to be able to sit down and do this, and maybe only spent a 1/2 hour at the most. So, okay, it's right sides together. I flip it up and then I just fold it down. I don't flip under that bottom edge because I'll be cutting it off and no one will see it. And so we're going to top stitch and do this to both ends. Okay, same thing on this side. And top stitch. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys can hear, but it's so noisy out here. I thought it would be quiet. Hopefully it's quiet for you guys. Excuse me. Okay, now we're just going to cut off these little flappy bits. Okay, and then we're going to cut off the edges as well to make it flush with the zipper. So whatever your zipper width is, cut your zipper tabs just a little bit bigger. That way you can do this and make it look nice and flush when you're finished. I'd always rather cut it too big and then have to trim than have it be too small and have to recut. Okay, so there's our zipper. We're going to go ahead and find our exterior panel, put these linings off to the side. we'll go ahead and start with the one I put strips on. I forgot to sew these on, but you'll see that I'm going to finish that in a little bit. If I were you, I would sew your strips. If you have an overlay of some sort, sew those on right now. But yeah, we're gonna do right sides together again. I want my zipper to unzip from the left side, so I made sure I laid it down correctly. So when it's closed, the zipper tab will be to the left. I am just clipping it on, matching up the edges. My strips those black strips, I cut them longer than what I needed them. I can trim those off later, or they'll just stay in the seam allowance. No big deal, no one will ever know. And I'm gonna go ahead and just baste this on, starting and stopping on the zipper tab. Do not sew past the zipper tab. I think my stitch length is at a 3.5. But I'm just doing about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, just a basting stitch to keep it in place. And if you wanted to, you could trim that those stripes off if you're doing those. But it doesn't really, they're not too long, so it would be fine to leave them. Make sure your zipper is halfway unzipped, and put your lining right sides together with your exterior. And I'm going to flip it over after I clip it so I can see the stitching line that I've already made. And then we'll do a 1/4 of an inch stitch, or I'm sorry, seam allowance to stitch the lining. Okay, one more clip. Alright, so I am going to flip it over so I can see my existing stitch line. And again, I'm going to start and stop on the zipper tab, not before or after. Do a little back stitching. Try not to sew on your zipper teeth or over top of your zipper tab. Move it out of the way. And then make sure you stop on the zipper tab, not past it. A little back stitching. I'm kind of excited to rewatch this to see if you guys can hear my cat purring or my dog. Okay, my lining was a little bit too big. I must have cut it a little off, so I'm just trimming a tiny smidge off the side there so it's nice and even. Now we're good. Now we're going to go ahead and put the wrong sides together. Zip that up all the way. Put the wrong sides together, and we're going to top stitch right by that zipper. And I hadn't noticed yet, but I still haven't sewn my strips on. I used double-sided sticky tape to stick them on where I wanted them. But yeah, I'm doing an 1/8 of an inch away from the zipper roughly. I turned my stitch length up a little bit, and I'm just going to top stitch. But my stripes are that I taped on so far right now are 1/2 inch wide. If you're wanting to do the same thing that I did, there's 3 1/2 inch wide strips down the center. When you're top stitching, you can go all the way to the edge. You don't have to start and stop on those zipper tabs. So it is okay to go all the way to the edge. Now I realized that I forgot to sew those on. So luckily I didn't get too far. I can just open this back up and stitch those on. Just make sure your lining's out of the way if you do the same thing I just did. And we're just going to go sew up and down each one so they're sewed on, and we'll go on with the next step. So I have been so busy lately since I went back to work. Full-time is crazy, and plus every day after work I go to the gym. So it adds about 2 hours to my work day, technically in a way, by the time I get home. And I've been loving that, getting in shape. It's great. The boys came to visit from North Carolina. My youngest one is getting a house, so that's exciting. Yeah, I can't say not too much going on because we've been busier than heck, but it's a good busy. I had some senior pictures. We went and had my daughter get her senior pictures taken the other day. We've just had a lot going on. So it was nice to get a few minutes today to sit down and sew. I've been wanting to make a little zipper pouch to go with my bags. So yeah, so it's good. The only thing I wish I would have changed was maybe to iron the zipper. I noticed it's a little wavy, but again, it's for me, so I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, I would definitely iron your zippers. Okay, that's what that looks like. Now it's looking good. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and make sure your zipper tab is halfway. Good deal. Those stripes make it easy. You know exactly where the center mark is. All right, your other exterior panel, we're gonna put right sides together. I'm gonna flip it over so I can sew from the zipper side. And basically just do the same thing we did with the other ones. We're gonna baste this zipper on with like an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And then we'll add our lining. These zipper pouches are just so easy to make. You don't even need a pattern, you just need a rectangle. Or not even, if you want to do a square one, make squares. You can just kind of guess what size you want it to be, and that's what I did. I was just like, 9 by 7 sounds good. And it is going to be smaller than 9 by 7 because of your seam allowances. But yeah, it just kind of, you don't need a pattern. It's just great. You just cut out your squares and there you go. Squares or rectangles, but all right, we have it basted. And now we have our lining facing up right now. Make sure your zipper's to the center again. Your lining is right side up. You're going to put your new one right side down, face them together. Flip it over so you can see your stitch line. And clip. And now I'm purposely holding the phone up to my cat because she is purring like crazy. I'm curious if you guys hear it or not. I just wanted to get a video out for you guys, so it's been a while. So sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. All right, I'm just moving my zipper pull out of the way, doing the same thing we did to the other side, doing a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, try not to sew over my zipper tabs, or I'm sorry, my zipper teeth. Start and stop on the zipper tabs when you're doing this. All right, now we're going to top stitch like we did the other side. You should have 2 panels on each side. Pull it tight and top stitch. And now you can start from the very edge right here and then go to the very edge. You don't have to worry about starting and stopping on those zipper tabs. All the way down. Okay. This is just so fast. So much fun. It's looking good. All right, now we're gonna cut out the 1 inch squares. Again, this is something I just guessed. I have this 1 by 6 inch ruler and I'm like, you know what, that's close and handy. I'll just use it. Now, if you wanted it more of a boxy, a little wider bottom, you could do like a 1 1/4 square or 1 1/2 inch square. But honestly, I did 1 inch just because the ruler was handy and I was too lazy to go get my other ruler. So I like the size that it ended up being. It ended up being really good. I like it. So I would definitely recommend the 1 inch. I'm just marking using a friction pen. I'm marking on the wrong side of the fabric. I would always suggest marking on the wrong side, just in case you mess up. My dog's collar. Hi, buddy. Okay, and I'm just gonna cut these out with my scissors. And you could obviously do this ahead of time before you sew everything together, but it's just so easy. It doesn't really matter when you do it. It's just pretty simple. You can do it whenever, as long as you do it before you sew it all together. And that's what that side looks like. And then we'll go ahead and do it to the same on the other side. All right, one more panel here. Okay, now we're going to put all the right sides together. Make sure your zipper is halfway unzipped. Let's move you over here a little bit. Okay. Halfway unzipped. Put your right sides, exteriors together, and right sides of your linings together. We want to bend that zipper tab up towards the lining, if you can see what's going on here. So it's pointing towards the lining. And I'm gonna grab some clips and we're gonna clip. Same thing on the other side, bend that towards the lining. And clip. Gotta grab some more clips. The more the merrier. Looks like I messed that one up. Sometimes I clip and I don't catch the one side. All right, there we go. All right, now I'm pointing that I want to start stitching up here, but we're actually going to start stitching on the other end. You want to start and stop on your lining, not on your exterior. So I got to do it, and I'm like, no, that's wrong, start here. So we want to leave a hole in the lining to turn our bag right side out. So I'm starting, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches from the edge, something like that. Go all the way to the edge, back stitch. Same thing on the sides, back stitch. A little bit bigger of a seam allowance on your lining. And this is why we have the 1/2 inch in between, or 1/2 inch left at the edges of our zipper, so we can get right next to them, but not on them. It makes a huge difference if you leave plenty of space between the end of your zipper tabs and your bag. You can definitely get right next to them, and you won't have those wonky edges. I've cut mine a little too long, my zipper, so it was a little tough, but I managed. All the way down, back stitch, and then do about another 1.5 inches or so right here. And then you'll have your hole in the bottom. I'm just going to cut all these jump threads, and then we'll box our corners. Okay, just pull your pieces apart right there and match up your seams. I kind of nest them. Some people like to open the seams, I just nest them. I'm gonna go ahead and do this to all of my corners, and then we're gonna sew them shut. The exterior, I'll do about 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then down here in the lining, I'll do a little bit bigger. Maybe half, a little under half, something like that. Awesome. Now we're just gonna sew all those shut. Okay, again, so just a little recap on the corners that I sewed shut on my lining. I did a wider seam allowance than on my exterior. So I tried to do 1/4 inch on my exterior, so I did a little bigger than that on my lining. So about 1/2 inch probably. And now you should have everything closed except for that hole on the bottom of your lining right here. Let's go ahead and trim these boxed corners really quick. Yeah, it just helps everything lay better when it's all trimmed nicely. I'm trying to trim them all to about, I don't know, 1/8 inch, something like that. But let's reach in here, unzip your zipper the rest of the way. and just grab one of those corners and pull it through. We are almost done. This is such an easy, fun bag to make and simple. These are really good bags to practice with for zippers. If you're new to zippers, you can use cheap vinyl, you know, from like Walmart, or find something made out of vinyl like at Goodwill if you find something. Cut it up in these little rectangles and just practice zippers. Just pushing out these zipper tabs. Okay. Let's go ahead and shove our lining in here and make sure it fits. Make sure our seam allowances all work, and it does. So I'm going to pull it back out and push the corners out, or the boxed corners, on both sides of the lining. And then we're going to fold that hole, the edges, in so we can top stitch this without any raw edges hanging out. I'll go ahead and use some clips just so it doesn't shift while I'm sewing. When you do start to sew this shut, start further back than what the hole starts, I guess, if that makes sense. That way you don't have any holes whatsoever at all. I'm going to start way before the hole starts, basically. And make sure you backstitch. And then just sew all the way down. A thread that matched my lining probably would have worked better, but again, this bag's just for me. I'm not too concerned. I could have used some gray thread and it probably would have blended in pretty good, but I'm fine with the black, and that's what that should look like. Then we're just going to shove it in and push those boxed corners in so they match with the inside of the bag, and there you have it. Your zipper pouch is done. Yay! Okay. That's what it looks like. My zipper's a little wonky. I didn't iron it, but that's all right. That's what the bottom looks like. See how it's wonky? Yeah, let's grab the Annette. We'll move up a little bit more. That's what this zipper pouch looks like in size with the Annette. That's what it looks like inside. It fits really nicely. So yeah. I hope you had fun watching my tutorial, and thanks for stopping by.